In this video we're going to be looking at configuring Linnworks Mobile for picking to trays when using pickwaves. What do we mean by this? Well, picking to trays is an extension of picking to a tote. So on your trolley or tote you may have a number of different trays and you may want to group items into a specific tray. The difference between totes and trays in Linnworks is that in Linnworks totes have a specific entry that you have to put in your location settings, whereas trays are a more free-form concept, so you can have multiple trays on a tote. We don't require to know information about that tray. So if we hop over to linnworks.net now and we go to Settings, General Settings, and then into Linnworks Mobile, and we scroll down to pickwaves, there are some options here for configuring tray scanning. Tray scanning is an extension of tote scanning, and so all the requirements for tote scanning are still relevant. So you must be using directional pickwaves, you must be using tote scanning, and you must be using show next only, so only one item appears on the screen at a time. Underneath that we have our tray scan control, which is obviously dependent on having tray scanning enabled, and there are three modes here. I'll go into those three modes in a moment. The last thing is a barcode prefix. So this is a way that Linnworks Mobile can recognize when you've scanned a tray. So maybe all your trays start with the same barcode. If that barcode is entered, Linnworks will only recognize a tray that starts with that barcode. So looking at the three types of control we have here, we have first of all unrestricted tray scanning. So in this mode we will require all items to have a tray marked against them, but we don't have any restrictions on where they can be placed. For instance, you could have several orders in the same tray, you could have one tray per item, but we won't do any validation about where those what items are placed in those trays, merely that they have each item has a tray marked against it. The next mode is order-based tray scanning. So here you can see I have my tote 1 and I have two orders based on it, and here I have SKU 1 in tray 1, SKU 2 in tray 2, and on the other order I have SKU 3 and 4 in the same tray. So here if I was to have another SKU in here, I wouldn't be able to put that SKU in either tray 1 or tray 2 because the trays have to be exclusively locked to an order. Taking this a stage further, we have order item based tray scanning, where each order item has to be in an individual tray. So for instance in here I can't put both items in tray 1 because they are different order items, they must be in separate trays. One thing to note is that tray scanning is done on a per tote basis, so if we look at a final example where we have multiple totes being used for the same pickwave, you can see that we have tote 1 here with this order that has tray 1 and tray 2. On the second tote we consider it to be completely separate, so tote 2 can also have a tray 1 and a tray 2, and both the tote and the tray are marked down in the pickwave itself. In the next video we'll look at how we use tray scanning in practice and how this information is displayed in linnworks.net.